I'd say from Van Graham and Stephen Larkham's position, I'd say they're just thinking we need to break the cycle of Leinster winning, kicking on to next year, and they have done that. But the bigger difference actually I saw as well, just from the performance, and I realised that it wasn't the same intensity as that final, but I did think that Munster caused a lot more issues at the breakdown. You saw Tig, Damien Delande got a couple of really good turnovers on the ground. They seemed to pick their times better, and that they got a bit of inroads there.
Yeah, they did. Tig Byrne at it again. He's an absolute freak. I don't know how many times we've chatted about him he's just sensational on the ground, and he's one of these players like Porter for Leinster. When they get over the ball, they're literally impossible to move. Munster were definitely more accurate around that. They held onto the ball a lot better. They seemed like they weren't playing with major constraints. In the final last month, they seemed like a team that were under pressure from the get-go. Well, I think they're a bit more relaxed looking. They obviously, as we talked about the Rainbow Cup, there probably wasn't as much pressure on them to perform, but and they had a full strength team against what would be a second string Leinster team. So they're probably looking and going, this is one we should take advantage of, and they did, and they won convincingly, really.
Definitely. And speaking of holding on to the ball, I saw CJ Stander kept the match ball after the game. Well, obviously, for him, he's been on the receiving end of a number of losses against Leinster, so definitely a nice one for him before he flies back home to have gotten one up over the old rivals.
It is, and as you talk about Rob about trying to beat New Zealand many times and then eventually getting there and doing it, I suppose it's, on a smaller scale, it's similar with Munster-Leinster. CJ's been on the back of 8 or 9 losses now against Leinster, and then you get a win no matter what way it comes or what tournament it comes in. They all count and they're all special. You know yourself from playing against Munster, and I know on the other side as well, there's always something at stake. It's never a dead rubber as such. So there's always a good intense rivalry there. Yeah.
Back to your own career, Rob, and this is just for listeners and people that are watching. Like, what is the biggest sense of satisfaction you ever had after a match? And what was it kind of connected to?
There's probably two for me. I think the 2016 game against the All Blacks in Chicago was pretty big for me. I was coming under a lot of heat. My body was breaking down a fair bit in 2015. I wasn't able to string too many matches together. And I think that game in Chicago was the one time that I felt in my career that my position was massively under threat. And I knew it going out onto the game. So to be able to go out then and put in a good performance on a really big game where the team won and we made history was pretty nice for me. 2018, I think, was probably the one moment of my whole career that I take so much pride from. To have been able to be a part of a Grand Slam team in 2009 and then to go and do it again in 2018 and put in a really, pretty solid tournament in terms of my own performances and to know that you can do that on the big stage 9 years later, given some of the moments and dips in form and injury that I've been through and in the years previous to that, and I don't know how old I was, maybe 32. That was definitely the one year that I take most satisfaction from.
Yeah, definitely. I think those, games against the All Blacks, like, I remember that 3-test tour that we were on. We were rooming together for the entire thing. And we were traveling around to some of the, and the thing is, New Zealand is a beautiful country, but in the winter time down there, some of the spots can be pretty bleak, and the All Blacks are only getting going really with their season. Yeah. So, and you're coming to the tail end of a Pro 14 or a European Cup, and really the squad going over there was a bit exhausted mentally and physically, even though we ran them close in the second game. But the third game, Rob, if you remember, there was actually one line, because we lost in the third game 60-0, and we nearly beat them in the second game. Mm-hmm. So guys' heads were gone, and lads pretty much had the flip-flops on, ready to go on their holidays, and just get out of there. I remember Ritalak just he ghosted through a gap and just dummied one of the backs and goes through a gap from like 40 metres in. And this was at like 40.
Yeah, he dummied you.
45 now. And you still missed him at the back, the goalkeeper. But I remember Drico under the post, and like, what does a captain say, you know, to a team that's losing 45-0? And I remember him going, lads, I know things have gone to shit, but that was particularly bad.
I'll never forget that game. That was. It just felt like we spent the whole game under our sticks. And I think the biggest mistake was we sort of poked the bear the week before, and that game we should have won. You know, to be fair to Nigel Owens, a really good ref, but he actually rode us at a scrum up the field that we should have got a penalty for, and they went up the other end, and Dan Carter kicked a drop goal. So we all thought, yeah, we're in this. You know, we just do the same next week, and we'll bang in there again. We might run them close. They came out of the blocks and they smoked us 60 points to 0.
We'll have to touch on the Lions, Rob, as well, because obviously as a tourist, the last time the Lions were down in South Africa, you were there in 2009, and I remember vividly actually visiting you in hospital. I'm pretty sure I went in with one of your buddies from school. I think it could have been Andrew Lynch, and we went into hospital.
The grapefruit was that.
Yeah, you had the mumps. So Rob had the mumps, and you know, were you European Player of the Year that year, or you'd had a great season and you were in a great position to go, but
no, I wasn't European Player that year. No, it was off the back of the 2009 Grand Slam. Leinster had won the Heineken Cup, so yeah, I was in a pretty good position to go. Obviously, I was still pretty young, so you're never sure that you were going to get picked on it. But then after that quarter-final game, I got hit with the mumps, and I think I was in Blackrock Clinic for 2 weeks. I was sick as a dog, and you were one of the few to come in and visit me. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no worries, man. But listen, that tour though, you know, because I saw clips of the 97 Lions there. It was like a classics on Sky Sports. It does seem like South Africa is a particularly special place, and I know that like all the three tours they go on in whatever cycle you manage to get, but South Africa does seem pretty special. Like how much of a difference is it going to be not having those fans there, because you experienced all that, and the, you know, just the crazed fans that go over there and the support that it gets. It's a big part that a lot of guys aren't going to experience.
Yeah, it is, and it's really unfortunate because, you know, the Lions supporters are incredible. I don't know where they all come out from, but you know, you go to those stadiums and a lot of the time there's more red in the stadium than there is the opposition colour. The South Africans are pretty hostile as a group of fans. They don't, not that they don't make you feel very welcome to the country, but they're hostile, and they try and intimidate you a little bit. You know, I'll never forget the bus journeys to the ground, and they're throwing cans of beers at the bus, and they're giving you the fingers, and they're screaming "Baka, Baka, Baka." So it is a little bit intimidating. But I think if we've seen anything from sport over the last year, that, you know, the away team, there's a little bit of an advantage with them. The old home teams aren't getting as many wins as you might have expected in previous years. So, you know, if anything, I think it'll probably be in the favour of the Lions team.
House of Rugby Ireland, here on Joe. Game changed.